Hello and welcome to IBM TV. Today I'm joined by Chris Wright, General Manager of Dalet. Chris, welcome to IBM TV.
Thank you.
Can you start by telling us a bit about Dalet, please?
Well, Dalet's been around for getting on for 30 years now, and led the radio market through the 90s to public radio systems, large scale. Moved into news for radio initially in 2000. Added television editing, production, automation for news primarily from about 2004. And so we did some large scale systems for the BBC, BBC Arabic, BBC Persian, NBC in the US. But that was all backed up by asset management. So there was always a media asset management workflow, even behind a radio system. And we've been exploiting that more and more in the last 7-8 years, to the point where Dalet is now one of the, I would say, leading MAM companies worldwide. And we do large-scale MAM systems, we still do news, and we still do radio. So we've kept our radio market, we've kept 95% plus of the customers that we ever had. So we do have customers who've been with us for more than 25 years on every single version of software we've ever had.
So you're showcasing the flexibility of the Dalet Galaxy platform for MAM and orchestration workflows here at BVE. Can you tell us a bit more about this, please?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we added a BPM layer to our software. We had an underlying task execution engine, and we then acquired a company called Amberfin, who primarily into transcoding, ingest, playout, that kind of media processing operations, and we've ported our BPM orchestration into Amberfin. So we've got 3 different levels, I would say, of orchestration. We've got the level of orchestrating files, but also metadata driven, so media process, QC, transcoding, testing metadata, smart publishing workflows, and that can be done just with Amberfin with its workflow engine, so it's an orchestration engine. Then we've got the next level up, which is if you want a bit of persistence and you've got user-facing GUIs where you need to direct users at what they do. A Galaxy system can orchestrate all of the items I mentioned before, media processing, integrating with media movers like Signia and Aspera, QC engines, speech-to-text engines, and bring that metadata back and use the metadata to drive operations and face up a task list to users. So when there's a manual operation required, the GUI, the screen they're looking at, is configured for that task automatically by the workflow engine. So that's a bit unique. And that's without starting to talk about MAM, which is then orchestrating all the other operations, the media processing that goes together with, for example, review processes, soft parting for your programs, dealing with episodes, dealing with traffic systems, and that's the full-blown Galaxy MAM system. So we've got the 3 steps where we see different markets around the world are looking at different kinds of systems. Enterprise MAM is still the name of the game in Asia, for example. But in the UK, Enterprise MAM was about 10 years ago. So it's been through the last 10 years. And now what our customers are telling us they're looking for is orchestration, rather than putting in a big global MAM that deals with everything. And they've done that before. They've got one. They've got their archive. What they need now is flexible in and flexible out. And we offer that with an Amberfin workflow.
So it sounds like there's a lot of functionality there that you've just mentioned, but then at the end you touch there on flexibility, which I suppose is very important, isn't it? That they have all this functionality, but it's also flexible to adapt to their needs.
Well, this is where Dalet is unique. I mean, we are the only company in the industry that does full service radio and full service TV with the same product. And on the flexibility is that you can take a Dalet system that primarily starts at, let's say, a newsroom, so a text-based newsroom. We have a text-based newsroom in the same product. It's a text-based newsroom in the same way that BBC has been using ANPS. And Dalet provides exactly the equivalent to an ANPS, but also adds the production tools on top of it. So you could start with a newsroom. You could then add media browsing, media ingest capabilities, proxy editing on the desktop, integration with your Avid or your Adobe editing, control or upload to video servers, control and play out to the video servers, integration with graphics, integration with teleprompters, and then actually provide some integration to the online world. So we also deal with social media in and social media out.
Okay.
So the flexibility, maybe it's probably best to express that to talk about a few case studies. So we do a system for the UK Parliament that basically runs the business of the Parliament, the planning, Prime Minister's question times, the live stream encoding that goes online, the annotating of the House of Lords, House of Commons is done through Dalet's Sports Logger tool, which is configured in the Parliament sense with, vote, adjournment, division, all the things that make sense, and it's pre-prepared with all the planning information. So Prime Minister's question times go into Dalet first, they're then on the order of business of the Parliament is on the EPG on the Parliament Live website, and when updates are made, meetings are moved, it's updated automatically on the website, and now the MPs go there to find out where they should be, which wasn't the plan, but that's how it ended up, because they can get it on their tablet, they can get it online.
So it's adapted as it's been used?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's a MAM system that's also live, and it's quite, because Dalet's come from primarily the production world, where we were doing news and then later sports systems, the MAM is reactive. Other MAM systems came from the archive world, so you have a large data set that doesn't change very much. And therefore, the MAM systems are not designed to be as reactive and real time. So what happens in the Parliament is that somebody hits a button on the Dalet Sports Logger that plumbs in that an MP just got up and asked their question to the Prime Minister, and that's out on the website slightly ahead of the encoder delay of the video. Okay. So it really is live. And it's in fact predictive. But that's one kind of system, and that's exploiting some of Dalet News, some of Dalet's sports capabilities, the ingest, the editing, the archiving, because there's an archive part to that as well, the integration layer through our API to the website, so different parts are configured, and it behaves completely differently to, say, the asset management system we do for Perform, which is primarily around recording of sports feeds, clipping up of rushes and packages, and sending them on their way to broadcasters with a script that they also write in Dalet. Absolutely different behaviour. You could look at the two systems, you'd see no similarities, but they're exactly the same software. Okay. So it's
completely configurable.
Completely configurable, yes.
Which must give so much flexibility for not just yourselves as well, but also for the users.
Well, what it really allows us to do as well is, I mean, the market, we've been around long enough to know that the market moves in cycles. Refresh cycles are at different paces for different types of product and in different parts of the world. Right now, radio is on an upswing. And radio refreshes, we're probably on a fourth phase or something, fourth generation of radio systems. And what we're doing today is pushing our radio platform further to the social media and to the automated production of video for radio. So online content, smart control of graphics and switching of cameras, and that's all metadata driven from our radio playout. So the DJ sits and does the same things he always does. We're not going to turn a radio studio into a TV studio. The DJ doesn't actually have to know that he's controlling a full service, video output that can be streamed on the website, linked with dynamic links to, for example, ticket sales. There are other ways of promoting radio and getting income into radio stations that we're bringing with integration that is easy for us, because behind our radio system is a MAM. So that's another quite unique component. And the tools that we have are all again configurable by user rights. So we make an editor that has a lot of functionality, but we offer up maybe to certain kind of user just the limited functionality that they might need for their job. And that's something that we discovered early on when we delivered radio systems to CBC, where there were 3,000 different kinds of users, and they did different jobs, and we had to protect the content so that the content isn't open to all. and user rights were a very strong part of our product offering.
Okay, so we touched on radio there. The Dalet Galaxy Radio integrated with a new tech TriCaster for visual radio applications. You touched on it there. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, the TriCaster is a very interesting box. It's not the only box of magic tricks and video box that we work with. We work with a couple of others, but primarily it offers camera inputs in SDI or HDMI, and now IP as well. It offers 2 levels of effects and video processing, so picture-in-picture, and you can zoom and you can do things. We can control the graphics, populate the graphics by what's going on in the radio system through metadata. We can, scenario could be that you have in a radio studio, you've got guests coming in, maybe famous ones. You've got the cameras on them, the cameras automatically switch depending on who's talking. We get that metadata. We record the guests. Of course, Galaxy is also a video system, so we can edit the video and allow them to repurpose it and publish it online. We then the box also, as well as the routing, the switching, the graphics layers that it's got, that we're all controlling, it also encodes. So you get at the back, you get a live TV signal and you get a stream out of a box that is very inexpensive. And this is in the price point where, for a radio station that wants to start to embellish their image, start to do more, start to expose more, it's almost a one-stop shop to provide all that functionality within a simple box that you just add to their existing radio system. And we found it, quite easy to integrate. Certainly our customers are very interested. We're deploying right now a system in Dubai for Embassy FM, where it's Galaxy Radio plus the video all the video output plus integration between different sites. But there, as a customer, we also do their enterprise MAM for 24 channels of TV with the same software.
Yeah.
So that's quite a unique. And we have many customers who do both radio and TV separately. They do radio journalism and TV journalism separately, but they can do it with a Dalet system in one system and share the content easily.
Okay.
So that's quite.
So then, finally, Chris, can you tell us what's new with Dalet Brio?
Well, Brio is a platform. It's a multi-channel video server, and in the last 6 months, we've added IP stream, SMPTE 2022-2-6. Ingest and play out capabilities, and we've also uprated to 4K, so it's now UHD capable. So it goes from multi-channel up to 12 channels per unit. It has some nice APIs and nice touches, so that, for example, you can record and upload to S3 storage on Amazon with just a Brio, or offload to another storage system, as they do at the National Assembly of Wales. They record all the sessions on the Brio, and it's automatically backed up on an Isilon. And we've got some smart tools. We're a software company, and as we move into the IT world, and video becomes IP streams more, and we see this more and more with our current customers, it fits with our view, which is this is more software. It's generic hardware. With Brio, we've never hidden the fact it's generic hardware. It's HP underneath. Today it can run in data centers because you don't need SDI infrastructure, and we provide quite a lot of smart tools on top of it. So web-based scheduling for setting up schedules to control the recordings, some automated backup mechanisms to take playlists from, say, a Dalet system and put them on the Brio, so it's a backup playout, and it automatically replicates the playout of your main system, but in a very small way. So it's DR sites and backup sites. So we see an increasing growth, I would say, in smartness around the video handling. So the video multi-channel in and out, but with some smart tools on top, and that's the kind of thing that appeals to us, because after all, we are software developers. We don't make hardware. So we really like the hardware. We're quite in the virtual world. We're quite happy because the hardware costs are starting to shrink. We're becoming more efficient. We're working on Amazon Azure. We're working with Most of our systems now are deployed in VM, so they're very transportable, easier to deploy. And that's a direction we see increasingly throughout the industry. And we hope we can ride the wave of the next IT improvements, things like virtual desktops. So we deployed last year a system for LCI in France, one of it's the TF1's news channel, where all of the clients in the system are on virtual desktops. So everything is remote, essentially. And that's something we see coming. That was deployed with Huawei, but it's something we see coming more and more in the industry, where the GUI layer is completely divorced from the back end. And one of the reasons that LCI did that was a matter of security. So they really wanted to, as well as being connected to the social world, they don't want the risk of their back-end systems being connected directly into to the internet. But they do want the journalists to be accessing the internet and to be able to publish and get social media in and out. So you have to protect that. You have to, as we all know, there was a rather major incident in France at one of the, I think, TV 5 Monde,
yes,
where they were hacked, and the French industry, TV industry, is very, very nervous about it. Security has become a major topic for most of our customers. We're in not bad shape. We do systems for the UN and for NATO, so we have to
pretty stringent security with that.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a growing topic. I mean, it's not something that we would have been talking about 5-10 years ago, but in the last years, all of our large public broadcasters particularly have been asked to review security, and we're asked to implement, and luckily we've been doing that for some time, so we're ahead of the game there, I feel. But, you know, there's only so long you can stay ahead of the game with hackers.
And who knows what's around the corner, so.
Exactly.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us on IBM TV. It sounds like there's lots going on for Dalet.
Yes,
and,
we're very active.
Sounds like a very exciting time for the company.
Thank you very much.
You can find out more about all of these products and more at dalet.com.